I'm ready to do my annual fall layout. I wish I did more than one fall layout, but it just seems like we don't get out and do as many things in the fall when the leaves change. And this year has not been a great year for leaf changes. Some of the trees lost their leaves early and others still have leaves on them. So it's been a really unusual fall. But I have a 2-pager for us with 3 photos together on one page and then 3 photos over on this page, and there's some different sizes here. This was printed on a 5x7, but it's actually about 6x4.5, and it's a selfie, and I thought we took a really, really good selfie. My husband has lived in this hat that he bought at the Mass General Store for $10 earlier this summer, and has just really loved it. So, and I got us color coordinated here in this burgundy color, and I have this wonderful photo that I took at a garden center of what they'd taken their mums, you know, the extra one, or the sort, maybe the spent ones, and cut them off the plants and made this arrangement. I thought that was really cool. So I've got some really good fall photos to enjoy, these red squirrels running around the tree and all kinds of neat things. So we're going to put these on this 2-pager, and since I have these great fall photos, this is a good opportunity for me to drag out some of my papers. This is from Stampin' Up. I bought it out of their holiday catalog for this fall, and I haven't used any of it yet. So let's see if I think these are going to be probably the best, but we're going to look at these and one other collection. There were 10 sheets in here that you got 5 different patterns, you got 2 of. So see, that's the same as, well, this is the same as this, and maybe I have used one. Because there should have been, yeah, I guess I have used one sheet, because there was another side of this one. But anyway, this is a really good match here, so I've got some good possibilities with this paper. I need 2 pieces the same for the background. The other thing that I have is this is Go Now Go from Schmel, and there's some fallish stuff in here. Here it is, with the leaves. Let's see how these look. That's not bad. I think I like the other better, and there was one with some trees to it too. Here it is. I like the tree paper. You know, like in a strip or something. But I don't really have, my sketch hasn't really allowed for a lot of paper. I could, you know, expand this down here. I wanted to do some leaves and maybe some acorns. I have some little wooden acorn embellishments somewhere that I know I want to pull out. So I don't think this is going to be the best one for this particular sketch. I think we're going to do something with Stampin' Up. So I kind of like doing those 2 sheets. There's a lot of pattern there, but it's such a small print that I don't think the photos get lost on it. So I really like that. I don't have enough of this one. I have 2 purples. They look pretty good on that too. Let's get those 2 out. I don't want to use up the stripe. And that's too much for a background. Okay. Let's see what we've got with those 2.
Trying first this houndstooth check in the plum color. I think this is Rich Razzleberry from Stampin' Up. And that looks good. It almost gives it to me kind of a picnic feel, which we didn't do, a picnic. And then I have this pattern that's small leaves, and I like the look of that as well. And I think that's more symbolizing what the page is about with the fall leaves. So I think I'm going to go with these 2 pages of this print. It's also something kind of different for me because I don't do that very often with a 2-pager. I will need some additional papers though to go over there on the right hand side for some strips and a little bit on the left. And then I'm going to do some leaves out of paper. Probably use 6x6 for that, and I'm looking here for some wooden pieces. I felt sure I had more acorns somewhere, but I guess I'm a little squirrel that buried them someplace and you can't remember where I put them because I never could find the other acorn. I only had one, and I have the little squirrel, so I'm going to use it. And I also found some little leaves that I liked. And I'm going through a few other embellishments. And I had that one there, This Is My Wonderful Life. These are really old things from KI that I got at Archivers years ago, and I've slowly used them in my scrapbooking, and so they kind of spread out over time, and I really like these little words. Now what I'm doing with these pieces of 6x6 paper, these are what I'm going to cut my leaves out of on the silhouette, and then when I come back with them, we're going to do a little more to them to make them a little more interesting than just plain die cuts. So I'm going to place these on a mat. I end up doing, I think, a couple of cuts. This gets me the majority of my leaves. Some pretty large, basic shapes that I cut on the silhouette. I like the 6x6 patterns because it's got this subtle print to it. So they're, especially using these larger shapes, they'd be a little bit dull out of just plain paper or cardstock or whatever, unless you did something, stamped them or did something more to them. So now I can just add a little bit of color over the top, a little glaze over the top, and they'll be really pretty without having to do a whole lot more to them. I do have a couple of them that are a little large, and I recut the blue-green one and the yellow one in a little bit smaller sizes. Now we're going to take these, and I have some Glossy Accents and some ink refills. And you can do this with Mod Podge as well, and it's what I usually do is Mod Podge, but I have some old Glossy Accents that it is getting pretty old, and I'm afraid they're going to go bad, so I thought I'd just go ahead and use some of that up. I had to cut the top off to get more of it to come out. But I'm just looking at pouring some of this out on a piece of scrap packaging material and mixing in just a drop of re-inker, and this is the Rich Razzleberry re-inker from, no, I'm sorry, it's the Bravo Burgundy re-inker from Stampin' Up. I didn't have the Rich Razzleberry. But I used the Bravo Burgundy and mixed with the clear, and the reason I like it with the Glossy Accents versus Mod Podge also is that you can immediately tell what the color's going to be. If you use Mod Podge, it's white and it dries clear, so when you add color to it, you have to account for the fact that it's going to dry a little darker than what it actually is. It just, if I'm doing a large area, I do Mod Podge because it takes so much of this. But for just a few leaves, a little bit of Glossy Accents goes a long way. So I did some of the purpley color there, and now I'm going to do a little bit of green, and this is going to turn that leaf a little bit more of a true green than the blue color, which is what I wanted. I didn't really have the right color paper for this. So this is going to make it match the leaves because some of the leaves had not turned. They were still green, even though this was, I think, about the 18th of October, somewhere in that range, and up in the mountains our leaves have usually turned by then. Where I live, it's early November. This year it was mid-November. I'm using some permanent markers from Faber-Castell to add a little more dimension to the leaves and just a little bit of shading here and there, give them a little bit of color. And once you've put a glossy coat on there, that typically spreads pretty well. The green one, I must not have gotten gloss quite everywhere because it didn't spread as well, but the rest of them did. So the leaves are dried and ready to glue on, and I'm picking out some other papers from the collection. I'm going to use some of the stripe and that gold paper. And I decided to color the wood pieces with just some light colored markers. The little squirrel and the acorn. And I haven't decided about, there were 3 other little leaves that I had, and at this point I'm thinking I've got enough leaves that I don't need those. So the acorn's two-tone. It's got one color, more of a brown color on the bottom, and then a gray color on the top. I need to work on the title for this as well, and the title's going to be real simple, Fall Day. And since it's such short words, I thought it would be a good time to use some of my larger letters. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that, I'm out of A's. Even in these big letters, I'm just out. And I could not find a lot of letters that sort of went together here, even if I painted them and all. So I ended up doing the F and the D, and then I did the rest of the letters out of another set of chipboard. Just a simpler set that I had. I think these are basic basic gray undressed letters. These go back years, but they put so many in the pack they last forever and ever. And I'm coloring them with some distress paint, an amber color, fossilized amber color. And I thought I would need another coat of this, or I would need to stamp over it or something, but it dried a beautiful color to go with my page, so I just left it. And these wooden leaves did end up adding a lot to the page. I thought they were going to be too much, but they're just a really perfect addition, and I didn't add any color to them. I did end up having to go back and glue them, though, with Glossy Accents. The Tombow just wouldn't hold. It wasn't quite enough for them.
So we have our 3 photos on this side and 3 photos on the other page with a little bit of designer paper, the journaling on top. I had one photo that I had cropped a little bit too high here, so that's fine. I kind of like that look along there. Used a sticker, word sticker, instead of just putting paper along that bottom. I did add a scallop border out of some of the same paper that came with the collection, this herringbone check in the purple. Close up of the page. To use a little of that pretty stripe paper, and I have lots of that left, so I love stripes. Work with so many different things. And so that's my 2-pager for a fall layout, using lots of designer paper, doing some fancy leaves, and kind of making the most of these fun and attractive photos. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'd love to get a like. It helps YouTube advance my channel. Check out my blog for the sketch, and I have lots of classes that are available over on the class page, where you learn lots of fun things about using stencils or 2-page layouts. I have a class specifically on 2-page layouts, working with your 6x6 pads, lots of different things. So I hope you'll check those out. Thanks so much.